Thanks for joining us. You're welcome. Initially, a bit of a shock, and a society will look at us and say,
this is associated
a bit of a
with
thicker
Muslim
skin, because this has happened numerous times, that these types of thinking are coming probably.
Aasim Rashid is with the BC Muslim Association. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
This is an issue that's come up a lot in the last couple of days, speaking to people in the Muslim community. Let me ask you your reaction, first of all, when you heard about these allegations.
I think it was initially a bit of a shock, and followed up by some dismay and some grief, actually, a deep sorrow that things like this really don't need to be happening, especially not affiliated in any way with individuals from our community. And then followed up with a very strong sense of frustration, because it just goes against everything that we practice, that we teach, and the message that we convey.
And yet you know that there are some people in Western society who will look at this and say, this is associated with the Muslim community. This seems to be part of the Muslim community. That must be frustrating, that kind of sentiment.
Well, there's definitely a stigma, and I mean, I think people are starting to put on a bit of a thicker skin, because this has happened numerous times. But every time it happens, it brings a fresh wave of those same sentiments, those same feelings of hurt and frustration and all of those things.
These are just allegations in this case, but there certainly have been other cases where we've seen the radicalization of, and we're talking about a small number of people, but within the Muslim community. Are there things that the community needs to be doing, is doing, to try to head that off?
Well, what we're telling the community is that these types of thinking are coming probably from one of two sources. Either there are individuals within the community that are taking people aside, pulling them away from the mainstream and giving them these kinds of messages and trying to convince them to do those kinds of things. But that's probably very rare, if it even exists here in Canada. The other source, we're guessing, is most likely the internet. Where people are going online and they're looking for these kinds of messages. They're looking for someone to educate them on these things and strengthen their twisted sort of beliefs, and then they get further instruction and it just takes them. So what we're telling them is that you need to try to keep yourself very close to the mainstream and keep the people around you also attached to the mainstream. Don't go off on your own. If you have questions, go to the scholars, go to the community leaders, bring your concerns to them, get answers for them, and stay with the group.
And notably, the tip, according to the RCMP, in this case, the original tip, came from an imam, which shows that within the Muslim community, people are being vigilant, ought to be vigilant about those who might be straying away.
Absolutely. There's little doubt that as a Muslim population, we all see these things as entirely wrong, and in fact detrimental to Muslims and non-Muslims. And so we all agree that these things have to be stopped. And I'm happy to know that there are people out there with their eyes and ears open, and they're doing their work. So it's beyond just cooperating with the authorities. It's actually, being out there and taking this upon ourselves to make sure this doesn't happen.
All right, thank you very much for speaking with us.
You're welcome.